Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so more free agency conversations to be had. It's a lot of stuff happening in the NBA on day 2 of free agency, and we're here to talk about it. In no particular order, because I wrote down a bunch of stuff, all different types of stuff in levels of importance. I'm just going to read what's on the paper, so bear with me. OKC is signing the CJ Micic. I'm certain I'm not saying that correctly, so I butchered the name. You can laugh at me if you want, but I didn't mean to. 3 years, $23 million for OKC. He's a two-time champion in the EuroLeague and was an MVP there as well, averaging 16 points per game on 44% field goal shooting, 36% three-point shooting, and had 5 assists attached to those as well. So they're bringing in a pretty impressive EuroLeague player, man. Pretty impressive coming to OKC. I don't know if that's the way I would use my cap space, but if he turns out to pop, that's a good contract. You know, if he turns out to be something much more special than 23 million, that's completely possible. And I understand it's harder to score in the EuroLeague, so he might average even more points here. But I think the role's going to be a little all over the place because that's OKC and they got a bunch of guards. And I'm not really sure what his position is, so I'm just assuming he's a guard. But nevertheless, that's the first thing we said there. He's going to OKC. All right, the next thing on this list is Patty Mills to the Rockets. We'll talk about the Rockets. I think they're going to make a trade there to acquire some other stuff to go along with it. But yeah, the Nets and the Rockets have struck a deal to send Patty to the Rockets. Dylan Brooks is also headed to the Rockets. 4 years, $80 million, $20 a year for Dylan. He said he was asking for 16. They gave him even more. I don't know how that even happens. How does that even happen? Anyway, the Rockets also made a move, sending Ty Washington and Usman Gruba, plus draft compensation to ATL, just giving young talent away. KJ Martin is also being traded for 2 future second-round picks to the Clippers. And I think in that Ty Usman deal to Atlanta, I think they're sending out 2 first-rounders. I read that somewhere, so take that for what it's worth. They're sending out 2 second-rounders, and bringing back 2 second-rounders. So it's they didn't lose any draft compensation, but they did send out young talent that is ascending in value and brought back guys like Patty Mills, which has no value whatsoever. Dylan Brooks at 4-year, $80 million. Like I said, that's more than he even asked for. That doesn't even make any sense to me, honestly. I really don't understand this. But I'm happy they did it. I am happy they did it because I want all of that young talent away from that man. And that's what I've been telling y'all. He wants a bad... Well, no, it's not bad. It's a good team, but it's bad in real life. But he wants a bad team full of old names that are overpaid. He wants all the problems that the rest of the league has because apparently he doesn't see the euphoria of all that young talent as something to desire. So I'm happy for him. I'm happy. He's tanked his franchise basically by doing all this stupid stuff, and I couldn't be more pleased for him. So, yeah, Miami, just in general, this is a little side note that has nothing to do with what we're talking about, wants to keep Caleb Martin out of Dame Lillard trades. So I guess Caleb Martin is going to hold up a Dame Lillard trade. Yeah, right. I don't even know why they even released that information. Russell Westbrook went to the Clippers. 2-year, $8 million. So I like what the Clippers are doing, picking up KJ Martin, bringing back Russell on the cheap for $4 million a year on a 2-year deal. That does no harm at all. And I think KJ Martin is going to be a tremendous player for that team, giving them all types of draft equity, trade equity that they otherwise didn't have before acquiring him. He's definitely somebody that can be retraded for a lot more. He's going to be fantastic for the Clippers. Let's see. Josh Powell went back to Dallas. I told y'all nobody else want him, but Dallas definitely did. 3 years, $12 million. They were bidding against themselves. I don't know what that's about, but I don't think that man has any value in this league at all. So keep it pushing. Jock Landale went to the Rockets for 4 years, $32 million. See what I'm saying? They're 4 years, $32 million for Jock Landale. But then they're giving away Ty Washington and Usman Gruba and adding picks to that as if those players are salary dumps or something. I mean, they're getting taken for a ride, bro, in the worst way. Taken for an absolute ride. That is a bad contract. Landale's a good player, but 4 years, $32 million for you when you got a bunch of young kids on your team that don't need to be traded away, but you're trading them anyway, is as bad as it sounds. Jalen McDaniels went to Toronto, 2 year, $9 million, $9.3 million. I like it. Jalen McDaniels probably going to play that up. Was that a good $5 million for him? Yeah, he's gonna play that up. I don't know why Philadelphia let him walk. I wouldn't have. He's gonna be good for Toronto. I don't know that they necessarily need his piece, but it does speak to them having a little more flexibility to move on from some of those wings that they've been keeping all this time. So I expect Toronto to do more, in theory. But if they keep Jalen McDaniels and don't make any trades, they still have a lot of depth at that wing position. That's not a bad thing in this league at all. Jay Crowder went back to the Bucks on a one-year deal. I don't have a problem with anybody signing a one-year deal. My thing with Jay Crowder is why the hell did the Bucks give away 5 second-round picks last year to acquire him? That was asinine. But bringing him back on a one-year deal does nothing wrong. It's nothing. I mean, that's what you want for a vet at that caliber. And since he was there last year, it brings back continuity. As long as they're not paying him $1 million more than they should, I guess it's a good idea to have him low risk, low reward. I guess I don't think much of Jay Crowder at this point, to be honest with y'all. But it is what it is. Mo Wagner's headed back to the Magic. 2 years, $16 million, $8 million a year for Mo. Most had a good season last year. His brother's on the team, so that definitely gives him a lot of leverage, given the fact that his brother's a star player that they're going to want to keep. So I like Mo Wagner a lot for the Magic. I thought he was good for them, and they're in a pretty solid spot for themselves. That's not the worst thing in the world at all. Bringing him back, Sandro Mamu, and I'm not going to even try to say the rest of his name. The Spurs got him back in there on a 1 year, $2 million deal. No harm, no foul there. I know they like that player because they let go of a prospect that I thought they would keep to bring him in. I don't remember exactly who that prospect was at this moment, but I was surprised that they did that and brought him in. But I think they liked him a lot. He had some good years in Milwaukee, from what I understand, as well. Let's keep it looking at what we have here. Jack White from the NBA championship Denver Nuggets signed a 2-year deal with the Thunder. I promise you, I've never heard of Jack White in my life. I've never heard his name before today. The only reason why I even know he played for Denver is because I saw his picture holding the trophy. So I'm pretty sure he played for the team. Thunder signed to people I've never heard of, man. I hope it works out for him. Let's see. Todd Jerome, 2-year, $5 million with the Cavs. Todd Jerome, I don't know that he's proven much of anything in Golden State, to be honest with you. I don't know that role that he had made me want to bring him in, but the Cavs are doing Cavs things, and they're not going to be very good. I don't think Todd Jerome's going to be a bad player for them, but I just don't think there's nothing. I don't think much of that particular signing. Damian Jones is now a Cavalier. I don't know to what the trade was there. I think probably for some type of draft compensation or something like that. I don't think much else would be going in trade there. But Cavs are also getting Damian Jones. So they're adding role players that you're going to find out. You're going to find out. Salary absorption is basically what they call that. So Utah gets Damian off of their books. I'm pretty sure Damian's going to be expiring at the end of this year. I think that's how that goes. What else we got here? As you can see, I'm not impressed with any of this stuff. All of this is garbage to me. Honestly, most of it is trash. I think the Clippers did fantastic, eating off of what the Rockets are doing and picking up Russell Westbrook. I thought that was really good. Good price for him. But this is a bunch of bull crap. I'm not going to lie to y'all. It's a bunch of teams doing a bunch of bad stuff that ain't going to lead to nothing good. The Rockets, here we go again with more nonsense. Josh Christopher was just traded to the Grizzlies for draft compensation. I think 2 picks there. I don't know what's going on there. I just don't understand this. Josh Christopher, all you had to do was just give these guys that you did not play a few minutes throughout this bad season that y'all just had so that you could actually see what their value would be if they had been seen a little bit. You know, honestly, man, the Rockets, all of their fan base, man, I really feel bad for them, man. That's what comes to mind. I really feel bad for them because you just gave away a lot of young talent to bring in some names that are really not better than the young talent you just sent out at all. They're not better. I'm just telling the truth. Zach Landale, he is a nice player, but I like the upside of a KJ Martin way more than I would ever even consider a Zach Landale. That contract would have went to KJ, in my opinion. Not to say he's a better player or even fits the same role, but it's just about how are you giving your money away. To me, it was like, I know these players didn't necessarily fit, but you don't trade young players like this for second-round picks. I keep saying this. I don't know why that's a thing right now, where teams like the Knicks are giving away young talent that hasn't proven themselves for 2 second-rounders. Like, that's a good thing. That's not a good thing. These players that you're giving away are going to go to other teams and then balloon. They're going to play better. And then they're going to be worth a lot more than what you just traded them for, and that's why you don't do this. Now, the Rockets have a specific intention in mind. They're trying to get older. They're trying to get worse on purpose. because that's what the owner thinks is best. So they're doing that, giving away 208, it was like $280 million, something crazy to Dylan Brooks and what's the guy, man, from the Toronto Raptors, Fred VanVleet. I mean, that's just so silly. When you know damn well they got guards to try to pay and develop, you still got to figure out what you're doing with the small forward position. You got about 4 of them that are all stars, upside players. What are you doing with Porter? What are you doing with Green? These guys don't fit your timeline no more now that you want to do dumb stuff. So I just think the Houston Rockets have made a fool of themselves, honestly, a complete fool of themselves. And everything that we talk about on this channel that you want to become, they undid so that they could become everything that we try to coach teams from not becoming. That's exactly what they did. Just the worst possible owner. I said he's the worst owner in sports, man. And he's proven it. He's really proven it. I don't think anybody else in this era would be throwing away young talent to bring in freaking Dylan Brooks and Patty Mills, who just come off horrible seasons, fam. You know, Zach Londale at 4 years, 32. I think he's solid, but for you got all kinds of lottery talent you just gave away that Zach Londale is not going to develop into being better trade pieces for you than they would have been. A guy like Ty Washington, if you would have played him up to his value, you could trade him for 3 times of what Londale is going to be asked for later. Like, this is just horrible team construction in the worst possible way. And the sad thing is, he's probably going to win more games. It's not to say that this upcoming year's team is going to be less successful than these kids would, but less successful than these kids would have been. I don't necessarily think that. But 2 years from now, what he just put himself in a position to need is the stuff he just gave away. And then from there, he's going to want to fire the GM because they ain't going to be able to put nothing together, and it's going to be because he demanded this happen with all of his assets. Like, it's just the worst possible thing. And if I'm like a billionaire sitting on the outside trying to buy a team and I see an idiot doing stuff like this, I'm like, yo, NBA, let me in. I would never do this to young talent. You know what I'm saying? Me and my team, we ain't going to be doing stuff like this what Tillman's doing. This is just betraying everything he's supposed to be doing. As a team that has won a championship in the past. You don't give away all the lottery talent that you were so bad in acquiring. Your team was terrible. You acquired all these guys. And you don't develop them. You don't trade them for what they're worth. You trade away the guys for little to nothing, and you bring in guys on contract that ain't half as good as the players you let go. Not half is ups. Not even a half the upside. KJ Martin got more upside in his right pocket than 3 of them dudes they signed, fam. Dylan Brooks ain't got no upside at $20 million a year. He ain't gonna do nothing no better than Green. Are you crazy? Like, these type of things I'm just looking at, like, oh. So now he's going to want to play all these dudes. He's going to have them play Patty Mills, as to which they're not going to be able to play some of the kids. But again, what kids? They didn't trade them all away. Ty Washington, Usman Garuba, KJ Martin, Josh Christopher, all out. As if this is an addition by subtraction situation. Like, he actually thinks this is something that he should want. Like, I'm like, yo, it is opposites day in Houston. And all the fans that are listening to these phases that he's on, you got to understand this dude has just did to you what the Nets did back when they gave away the draft rights of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown so that they could bring in old Paul Pierce, old everything from the damn Celtics. That's what this is. It's a repeat of that. You never, ever do what this owner just did right now. And if you think he's going to win a championship, not without some serious corruption helping him along the way, because the team ain't going to be that good. I told the Nets the same thing about Patty Mills. I'm going to tell you right now, he's done, fam. That's why they got rid of him now, because he didn't do nothing for them when they signed him, when I told them not to trade for him. They traded for him, gave away draft picks to bring in Patty Mills from the Utah Jazz. Like, that made any damn sense. Was it Utah or was it San Antonio? I don't even remember where the man was. That's how bad it was, but they gave away draft pick to get him, and it's like, yo, who's evaluating your talent? And to think, Houston got all these lottery picks. All these guys, they get the 2nd overall pick this year, 2nd overall pick that way, 7th overall that day. They get all these picks. Porter come out of nowhere because Cleveland wasn't smart enough to value him. All these different things come their way, and they're just sitting here like, you get Cam Whitmore with the 20th pick. You land Amon Thompson the same year, and this dude is saying, nah, I don't want none of that. Give me Dylan Brooks and Fred VanVleet are $300 million of my money. Let me go ahead and give 32 more to Landale, who was a center on the Suns behind Ayton on that team that wasn't very good, if you ask me. Let me give away KJ. Let me give away all these guys. Give away picks. It's like, you know what I'm saying, man? Just, oh my God. It's phenomenally bad how opposite all of this is, Houston. It's phenomenally bad. Miles Bridges, PJ Washington, Dante DiVincenzo, Christian Wood, and Jordan Clarkson are players we're still paying attention to. Maybe Houston will overpay for all of them. They'll probably take all them dudes. Because they're giving away money and getting players that are on contract, which makes it much harder for your GM to move around. Throwing away rookie contracts, players that they can have bird rights on or what have you. I mean, it's just like How to Tank a Franchise When You Have It All by Tillman Fertitta. Absolute nonsense. Absolute tank job, yo. Wow. Sometimes when people think they know what the hell they're doing and they just got control over stuff, they will really run the Titanic into an ice field, fam. Seriously. And you see it coming, and you make videos telling people not to do it, and then you watch them do it. One trade after another, one bad signing after another. And I'm just sitting here like, what I wouldn't do to have a asset class like that as an owner or a GM. What I wouldn't do to have everything this man just threw away. And all that stuff he wants, I would just want to trade for the stuff he just gave away as a GM. That's all I'd want. And for those young players, do you know how much of a good trade I could get for Josh Christopher alone? All I got to do is play him for 3 weeks in the month of November. 3 weeks where he's the starter getting good looks. And I promise you, I will get twice what this man was even looking for. Twice that. For the guy that he didn't even think wise enough to trade away on lottery day when we knew he didn't have a role for him that day. He didn't have roles for these dudes. He didn't have a role for Ty Washington that day. All of this was foreseeable. All of it. What wasn't foreseeable was him throwing his hands up in the air and saying, you know what? I'm sick of this. I want to win. And then proceed to do everything it takes to do the opposite of what is going to lead him to that victory. The opposite. I'm sick of these kids. I want to win. And the first thing he does is take all that is worth and replace it with crap that is not. And I'm telling you, people are celebrating. He probably like phase 2 is coming to. No, man, your phase is trash, bro. You just misevaluated everything. Everything you had. So that's where I'm at with him. I am overly done with the Houston Rockets. I am so very blessed that I was not raised there as a Houston fan. Clutch City. I don't know how this is going to end, but it ain't going to end well. I can assure you that. When you give away as much young talent as you did without getting nothing back, believe you me, you are bottoming out. I don't know if this man's doing this on purpose. For some weird reason, I've seen stranger stuff in this life. I promise you I have. But I'm telling you that he took stuff that was worth something and turned it into nothing. In a matter of hours. The Atlanta Hawks got significantly better. So long as they're able to feature these kids. The Hawks get young talent and don't feature them at all. You know what I'm saying? You bury them behind the Hawks bench just as bad as you'll bury them behind the Rockets bench. And then that same talent leaves their organization and then can bloom somewhere else. So the Hawks are not better than them in this way. In fact, they're just as bad in some ways. So I don't think Ty and Garuba potentially are going to get any playing time there either. But it is what it is, man. The point is they got better assets than they gave out. Them second-round picks. These guys are first-round picks who haven't developed. What the hell are you doing? You're giving away second-round picks for first-round picks, bro. That's exactly what you just did. These guys were drafted less than 3 years ago. The upside, some of them wouldn't even been drafted if they would have stayed in school. You gave away first-round picks for second-round picks, Houston. Fred VanVleet sitting there like, yeah, I'm only going to be here for about a year and a half. I just want to take their bag. I'm not going to be here much longer. It's the truth. They ain't going to be there. Ain't no reason to stay there. I already know. It's a 3-year deal. He came for the bag. He leaving just as quick. And Dylan Brooks, 20 a year. He wasn't even asking for 20 a year. His representation told everybody he was coming out asking for 16. How the hell you end up paying him more than that? What was his leverage to get more than that? BDL 44. I thank you all for watching.